Hello everyone, this time I'm going to show you how to use the laser and how to create toolpaths, how to create the tool to make the laser to work. Okay, the first thing that we need is we need to download the post processor for the laser from the web page of the Stepcraft US. If we go here to the system help tools and go to laser, there's a section that says downloads, and we have these two. This one, it's the multi-installer that allows you to install the profile for the laser, for the UCCNC. Also, this multi-installer have well, in Stepcraft we are working with a new type of installer that allows you to all the users install everything from a single file. So this installer have everything you need to install the laser, the automatic tool changer, the tool length sensor, and also the profiles, the macros, and everything you need is going to be inside this installer, and it will be updated constantly to have the new additions to the Stepcraft tools. Okay, once you download the profile installer, it's the multi-installer, and you can download this one also. This is very important, the cutting tables that gives you a reference of different kinds of material and how to burn it with the laser. These tables, this is an example of the tables. It tells you the thickness of the material, how many passes it takes to cut, and the feed rate you're using in millimeters per second. And if you see all the power, it's at full power of the laser, it's 225. And this is just a reference table. Also, we have an example of each material, because some of the names of these materials came different from different countries, so you can see exactly what type of material we're talking about. These tables also will be upgraded with time. We're putting more materials here and how to cut those materials. Okay, so we download this file, the multi-installer, and we get this file. So the first thing we need to run is to install the software. Okay, first you will see here there is a version of the software, also a date, so you can see if you have the latest version of the software on your machine. Right now it tells you to select your machine. In this case I have the 840, and after that it gives you the option to install the 4 different screen sets that we have for the machine. The standard installation, that is the normal install without any tools, the 3D printer, the ATC, but in this case we need the laser because we already have the standard installation. So we click next. This is the default folder for install. If you have the UCCNC on a different folder, I don't recommend it to have it on a different folder, because this is where all the tools and everything that we do, it's gonna be referenced to this folder. So let's click next. Now the installer is ready to install. Click next, and it's installing the new Screenset, and after it finishes the install, it gives us this icon on the desktop that is going to run the UCCNC. If you don't have the UCCNC, you can install it from here. We have the version 1.2037. This is the version that is recommended to use with the laser. Probably when you see this video there's a new version. And also, this is important, the Vectric post processors for using the laser. So if you don't have the UCCNC installed, you can install it from here, or if you want to upgrade your version, you can click here. It tells you that it's going to run the UCCNC installer, and you can install the UCCNC and drivers from here. I already have it, so I say no. And the post processors. The post processors, this is a new installer that it's inside the main software, because we are getting updates on this frequently. So we made this a new file. When you run it, it runs a new window that allows you to install the post processors for Vectric. So we're also going to have a different options for post processors here. We click next. The default folder that where Vectric puts their files for post processor, it's inside this folder, but we need to select which software do we have. If we go to the Vectric folder, for example, I have Aspire and I have VCarve. So in this case, I'm going to install the post processors on the VCarve folder. If you see, I'm going to tell you where it is, so you can find it. It's program data, sorry, all the way down to Vectric. And on Vectric, you will have your software. So in this case, VCarve. I recommend you to use it here on Max Post. This is the default folder, post processors, where everything is installed. But when you use this, if you open, for example, VCarve, and you create something, let's say a simple circle, and then I make a toolpath out of that, just like that. When I try to save this toolpath, it's going to give me all this list. So if you don't want to have all that list, you can install the post processors here. And when you install the post processors here, it is only going to show you what you install here. So you only going to see the Stepcraft profiles. It's for me, it's much better option. If you don't know where this folder is, that you don't find this folder inside this path, you can always open your Vectric software, and here you will see this option that says Open Application Data Folder, and this will give you where it's that path. Okay, so I'm going to install this on my post processor. I select OK, next, everything is ready. I select next and finish the installation. So when I finish this installation, I'm going to click next, and this will end the installation of the post processor for the UCCNC, for the VCarve, sorry, and the Screenset for the laser on the UCCNC. Okay, I'm going to finish this. Now, if I open the VCarve, now you will see that when I create a file and a simple toolpath, and then save this, I only have these ones. These are only the Stepcraft arcs automatic tool changer, just for milling, two laser profiles, post processor, sorry, and these two are for the for the 4th axis, wrapping on the 4th axis. So this is all you need to work with the Stepcraft. You don't need any more. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to work with the laser and how to make toolpaths and everything. First, let's create a new document. let's say it's 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters. The thickness, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if your thickness it's 3 millimeters 6, because the laser is not going to move up and down. It's going to move on the same single line. We want to avoid the plunge movements up and down, because if you have some even small movements on the plunge, you will have some points of the laser where it's moving up and down, and we don't want that. We want that the cut came out clean. So I'm gonna say my thickness is 1 millimeter. I'm gonna select one corner and then OK. Now the first thing that we need to set up here before we make the toolpath, it's the tool, the end mill. And also we need to set up the material in a different way. First, let's set up the material. Here, when you are going to set up everything, here you have this option to set up the material. Regularly, this is the normal options for the material, but in this case, these values here, we're going to change this. First, the start position, it's going to start always up when we start working with any tool, but because of it's the laser, we have the a different height. We're going to select this to 0.0001. This is on millimeters. And also the clearance that we want here, we want almost nothing to clear, so it's almost nothing. And the plunge, we want 0 movement on the plunge. So these settings, it's going to tell the machine that the laser is not going to move up when you're working. This is you have to be careful, because if you have some clamps, the laser will going to crash on the clamps. Okay, so once you put the material, your laser on top of your material, it's very important that there's nothing that will get in the way of the laser, so it can crash on it. Now, let's make the tool. We're going to the tool database, and here I'm going to make a new group on the metric tools. That's going to say new group laser. Inside this group, I'm going to make my new tool, that it's going to be a dummy tool, and we're going to use an end mill to make the laser tool. First, the diameter, I'm going to make everything on millimeters. The diameter to use the laser is 0.1 millimeters. The depth of the pass, it's 0.01 millimeters. This value, it's not going to matter, because I'm going to show you after how to make the toolpath to stay on a single line. Now the step over, we're going to use here 0.03 millimeters, so it's 30%. This value will work when you use the the fill for the laser, when you want to make a solid color. So if you decrease this value, it will matter for filling. You can also fill the box or something with a laser with another technique. Now, these are the important values. If you go to the table, for example, you want to cut MDF here. MDF of 3 millimeters thickness, you can cut it with a power of 255 at 9 millimeters per second, and you're gonna cut it on 12 passes. This is a reference. I'm gonna show you a different example here with the same material. The spindle speed, it's the power of the laser. The minimum value is 0 and the maximum value is 255. The feed rate is the movement of the speed of the cutting. It's like if you're using an end mill. So this is a normal value like always. So in this case, if I use this value, it's going to tell me that it's 9 millimeters per second. The plunge, this is, I'm going to put here on 1 millimeter per second. Doesn't matter because I'm not going to use it. And for example, if I cut the MDF with these values, according to the test, I'm gonna cut the MDF of 3 millimeters on 12 passes. But if I change this value to 4, I'm gonna cut the same MDF on 5 passes. So it's a relation between the speed and how many passes do you want to cut it. If you want to cut with the slow feed rate, of course the power of the laser is going to cut deeper, so it's going to take less passes to cut it. But the thing here is that it's gonna burn the edges of the material more. So it depends on your taste how to manage these values. It has to be a relation between the passes and the feed rate. Okay, I'm gonna use these values 12 and 9. So this is 9 of the feed rate, and where did you put the passes, you may ask. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Here I'm gonna put, this is the laser tool for MDF, let's say. Okay, I press apply, then I have my new tool, and I press OK. Now let's say that I'm gonna cut on the MDF a small circle. I want it to be here in the corner because my toolpath is on the corner. Now if I want to cut this, I'm gonna use the profile. Then I'm going to select the laser tool that I already have. Okay, and now this is the important thing. How much I'm gonna cut? I'm gonna say I'm gonna cut 0.001 millimeters. So it's nothing. And if you can cut 0.1 if you want. If you see the passes is gonna say there's only one passes. And because we don't want the tool have any plunge movements, we can alter these passes with here. On this setting, I can say that I want to make 12 passes to cut that distance. So I set passes, okay, and now the toolpath is going to make 12 passes on the same toolpath to cut this distance. And because it's a super small amount of distance, the Vectric software doesn't do any plunge here, or it's not any visible plunge for all the tests we made. Now the laser, because it's very very thin, you want to cut it on the vector, so the cut is going to be exactly on the line. And then here you don't use the tabs, you don't use leads, you don't use ramps, you don't use anything of this. Just generate the toolpath, calculate the toolpath, and if I go to this view, you're gonna see the toolpath. This is just a small circle. And if you make a preview of this, you're not gonna see anything because it's very small cutting. Oh, it shows. Oh, because it's a different color. So after we get the toolpath, I press this profile. That's the one I want to save. I press save toolpath, and here I'm going to select the laser. We have two different lasers here. The first one it works for all the toolpaths. So everything you want to cut or engrave with the laser, this is the post processor you want to use. These post processors that have 100 milliseconds delay, this is made for working with paper. Sometimes the laser don't like the white color, so to work with the laser you need to use not too white colors when you're trying to cut or engrave. We made this post processor to work with dot lines. The normal post processor, this one, doesn't make the dot lines very good because the laser have a small delay when it turns on and turns off. But with this one, because it have a small delay on the movements, it allows you to draw dots on paper. This is used mostly when you're sketching models, paper models. Those that one have some dotted lines where to bend the paper. This is the one you want to use instead of this one. But most of the times it's this one, the toolpath that you want to use to work. So now you save the toolpath and load the toolpath on the UCCNC, and that's it. You have the work for the laser. Now I'm gonna show you also this. Oh, I already have it here, sorry. This is the screen set for using the laser. It's already configured for working with the laser. It have now the the settings to work with the laser. One of the first settings that you want to change on the laser, it's this one, the height. We don't want to move the laser up and down, so it's going to be 0 for save C. So it's going to be always on the same line, always. And also it already have the laser pin, so you don't have to configure anything about the laser. It's already configured. So here you load your file and you can burn it with the laser. Well, I hope this information is useful, and we're going to make more videos about cutting and engraving with the laser later. Okay, ciao ciao.